Well, No Way I'd Be Afraid is the title of the talk by our next guest speaker, who is Afroditi Panagiotakou, Director of Culture at Onassis Foundation. And I understand that Prodromos Tsiavos is coming up as well, so please take the floor.
Thank you.
Don't be afraid, you can go.
Okay. Well, I know that I was supposed to be just myself, but seeing all these women here, I thought that we should just respect the male representation in the arts, here represented by Prodromos Tsiavos, a dear colleague.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, by the way. So we're here to talk to you, not about what we're doing, really, not even about what we believe in, because I think that the people who are in this room, more or less, we believe in the same values, and more or less, we want to accomplish the same things. So I think we're here just to come up with some words that, or some tools that we use in order to get our message across.
And it's also that as an organization, we hold justice not as something which is just a value. That's the essence of what a cultural organization does. Mm-hmm. That's the essence of what we do. And eventually we'll go to the title as well.
We will go to the title. So, Siga mi fovitho, for those who are Greeks, you all know what it means. But for those who are not Greeks, it means I won't be scared, or never, never am I gonna be scared. So this is a verse from a song by Yannis Angelakas, a rock star in Greece for many, many years. And we had that on our wall, on our building, in order to remind people of the murder of Pavlos Fissas, who was actually assassinated by fascists in cold blood. And it is were the days of the actual trial. So we use our wall, unfortunately, very often, because unfortunately the occasion is there very often, in order to take position and take stance regarding political matters and social issues. And I want to mention that today is a very special day. It's the 6th of December, so 15 years ago, a kid was murdered due to completely unnecessary police violence. Yeah. So before you complain about the demonstrations in the streets of Athens, please be reminded that there is a reason why these demonstrations are taking place.
So we start by showing a building, which is the building of our cultural center here. It's called Stagi.
Which means roof shelter. Or shelter.
And it has this lead wall. And as we said in a workshop we did a couple of days ago, internal workshop about who we are and what we do, and we do this quite frequently. We said this is not a lead wall. You should see it more as a wall in the same way you see a wall in the social media. So this is a place where we express our political stance. And while we have a building which is a very classic, if you wish, cultural institution building, Anchor, cultural institution building. At the same time, we show it can be a canvas of the things you can tell and the things you can do as a cultural organization.
The truth is that within this year, we're going to be having 3 more buildings. But before talking about buildings, because we don't believe in buildings necessarily, we use them, but it's not about the building. I want to say a few words about the Onassis Foundation itself. I don't know, I'm losing myself when I'm talking. I don't know. But if you can listen to me, that's fine. So the Onassis Foundation was actually established 49 years ago.
49.
When Onassis himself died. I'm saying that for those who don't know the history of this foundation. And maybe I could just use a banana, as we call it in Greek. So what this man did was actually, he decided that half of his assets would go to his daughter, Christina, and the other half that would normally go to his son, who died in a plane crash, would be used in order to establish a public benefit foundation. According to his will, we are allowed to spend 40% of our profits that come from businesses on culture, education, and health. So myself, as a director of culture, I'm responsible for whatever we do in the cultural sector of this foundation, and other people are responsible for what we do in education and health. But for us, whatever we do, it's not about culture, it's not about creating wonderful artistic productions, which we do. It's not about building hospitals and giving them back to the state, which we also do, or creating schools and running programs for everybody. These are all tools in order to talk about social justice, to talk about democracy, and talk about human rights. Not in a didactic way, not by telling people, this is how you should think, but by opening up discussions, by creating curiosity, even by using something like that. Why are they saying that? Oh, they're saying that because of that. And also using the power that is given to us by representing also an organization that is very established, because people listen when you represent the Onassis Foundation, because they say, oh, these are good people. They have created hospitals, they have created schools. When they expect that everybody who works in the artistic sector will be talking about LGBTQ and human rights, and then we will be talking about democracy and against fascism. So other people listen because we also represent the name Onassis.
So I think at this stage we should take a small break and show the video, which actually shows different things.
A short video, just to get a glimpse of what it feels.
A democracia é impotente contra a ameaça do fascismo. O fascismo corrói a democracia por dentro como um ácido.
Without fear, free to hold the hand of the woman you love. I want you to be yourself, openly.
Well, I get touched every time I see that. So it's, let's talk about justice and what it means to try for that. And I think we should start from Acropolis, since we're in Athens.
Yes, I think you saw something there about the tactile tour of the Acropolis and the elevator. When it comes to our cultural sector and Stegi, as we call it, our cultural center, we always say that we only do contemporary. So you're not coming to our cultural center to say something very academic or very mainstream. You're supposed to be the crazy ones, the people who can do whatever they want. And I'm going back to the fact that, yes, when it comes to the cultural center and our cultural programming, although we say that we don't do cultural programming, we are curators of public curiosity, and we are curators of the society in a way that we want to take care of it as well. So the Acropolis was a different case scenario because we thought that it was impossible to be having the symbol of democracy without that symbol being accessible. So when the Ministry of Culture came to us and said, okay, would you help us with that? Then we said yes. Creating an elevator up at the Acropolis is not easy, I'm telling you, if you're dealing with archaeologists.
It's extremely difficult, actually.
Extremely difficult. But we are proud that now whoever wants to go to the Acropolis can actually do it. And if somebody cannot see the Acropolis, he or she or them or they can definitely feel it. So I think that there is a fact here that we don't take any money from the Greek taxpayer, which means that this gives us the freedom to do what we want, so that some people who actually hate us, and thank God the people who hate us are people that we are proud of their hate, at least they cannot say that we're getting the money from the Greek taxpayer, although they do say that Onassis is turning his grave all the time.
And going from Acropolis to identity and ID, it's not just the things that we do outside the organization. It's equally important what we do inside. When we have an opening of a position, what we say is that we hire not your ID, but your ideas. And that's really important. It's important to be able to get people in the organization that come from diverse backgrounds and are able to confer ideas. They're able to bring their talents and their dreams in the organization. As we frequently say, we feel like a queer startup. We wake up in the morning, we go at work, and we are always asking this question: how can we
reach the stage of queer scale up? But
yeah, no, I think we're still startup.
Yeah. I think it's important. I think how we actually create our own community within our working space before we address ourselves to the community out there. And I think what we try to do at the Onassis is actually just come up with ideas that are relevant to what is going on right now. Because the idea is actually, how am I going to be relevant? How relevant am I? And from then on, gather people who can share ideas or make them think. Because of course you have people who are like concrete. They will never change their mind. They will always think that immigrants should not be in this country, that gay people should be burned in hell. You're not dealing with these people. But there are so many who are somewhere in between. And maybe this one theatre production, this discussion can make them actually change their minds and be different parents to their child, which we have actually encountered many, many times, saying that you really, really helped me talk to my parents just by making them watch this discussion, or think differently.
Yeah, or think what was the I don't know if you could say a few things about the Bekatori case.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. For instance, when it comes to the Greek Me Too, and I'm glad that Dimitris Theoropoulos is here, our colleague, we had a discussion that was online. Mind you that we do have our own channel on YouTube, the Onassis channel, and during the pandemic, we decided not to become hostages of geography, but actually do something out of it. So we started creating content for our channel. And there were points when we reached 8 million viewers from 167 countries. So when it came to one of these discussions regarding abuse and domestic violence and issues that women face, there was a comment underneath by an Olympic champion, Sofia Bekatorou, who actually said, yes, I'm one of these women. And Dimitris saw the comment, we got in touch with her, and the whole thing started. And this is how the story of the Greek Me Too, who has this symbol as its leader, who is Sofia Bekatorou, started. And now actually we are completing a film on Sofia Bekatorou called Tak, that has been following Sofia since the early days of the actual trial So we are very, very happy that at some point people will see that this was not just a walk in the park, that has been very difficult to come up and talk about it. Although we are a cultural center where people are now watching Katarina and the beauty of killing fascists.
Which you can see tonight.
You can see it
and
tonight
the day after.
and the day after.
And
And Friday.
And Friday,
We
so
have
definitely
English
suggest that.
subtitles. Please come and see it. In the end, people are actually standing and shouting and screaming because they are so outraged with what's going on stage, so that sometimes you feel that the revolution can actually start from the theater or from the arts. And next week, Tilda Swinton is coming. So you can see all these beautiful things, but the things that we are proud of is not just the level of our productions, it's how we get this kind of messages
and what these
across.
productions actually say.
And this, yes.
But let's move outside the building.
Before we do, I just want to mention that because we're all in here and we have all been to museums and everything. You saw Roma Land at some point. This is a theater documentary theater. And it has to do with how the Roma communities actually live in Greece with Roma people starring. There was so much fear on behalf of the audience who said, I don't want to see anything that is related to the Roma communities. They are thieves, they are drug dealers, they do everything.
Or people didn't want to write about it.
Or people who didn't want to write about it. And it really changed. But had we done this production and the Roma communities had never seen it, that would be a major political mistake on our behalf.
Or if it wasn't actually acted and directed by Roma people.
But I think that there's another thing that we have to bear in mind, that people come to us for their entertainment. People come to us to have a good time. So how can you talk about difficult things without making people feel sad in a bad way? So I think that our job, and this is what we try to do all the time, is to combine pleasure and thinking. How can you be clapping and thinking at the same time? I think it's a difficult task, but I think the combination of these two is remarkable, and it's a great job actually to be in.
And I think this is the moment where we talk about public spaces, because I see we're running out of time.
Yes.
So we started with a building, but it's equally important to understand that staying in Onassis Foundation is not staying just in buildings, and we have multiple buildings. Some of them are quite good, actually.
Yes.
And we have these public space events. One of the biggest ones is Plasmata.
Creatures.
But it's also events we do in different places in Greece, as we did in Konitsa, as we do in...
We go to villages, we go to different cities, we go into neighborhoods. And for us, this is also a political act. Because if you expect people to feel qualified to enter a museum or to enter a cultural center, then what are we doing for them? So we always go to neighborhoods.
But when we go to a neighborhood or to a place, we have the space speaking of itself. So we don't impose our own narrative. And we work, as we did in Yanina, in Ioannina, we work for more than a year with a local community in order to develop the actual artistic program.
So the idea is not to do parachute projects. We don't just land and people come and see and then they leave. We make sure that people are involved, that they work for the actual project.
And they change the projects.
And they change the projects.
And
I want to mention our communication team, because there are people who say, why do you spend all this money on communication? You're sold out all the time. It's impossible to find a ticket. And we keep telling them that we don't do it to sell tickets. Communications and marketing and all that, in our case, is not to sell tickets. The tickets will be sold easily. But the point is actually to come up with wording that people can relate to, that we have to explain what this is all about. Even if they don't come to the actual performance or they don't come to this production, they know that something is going on that is talking about Roma land, that is talking about fascism and democracy, that is talking about something. So we have to create curiosity, and we are obliged to let people know what our job is and what we stand for and what we do. And this is the job of our communications team, of which we are so proud of.
Which, as we say, communication is curation and curation is caring. And I think with that, we should go to the last video, which is about the public space.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. No fear.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, both of you. Do you have any questions? I think you've said it all.
Or we killed them all. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you. That was a massive attack.
Eleni has a question. Okay, so you'll have to.
Thank you very much. The question is something that we started discussing earlier. And it was very interesting to me when I asked you, how do you think about your audience? And you said, well, sometimes we don't think about our audience. And you start from where when you don't think about your audience?
We start from what we like, what we are worried about, what is our own book of disquiet.
What we care about.
What we care about and what gives us pleasure. And then we think that if we feel like that, some other people will be feeling like that. And in the beginning, we didn't know whether it would be lonely or not, but we were determined not to be by ourselves. So, no, we don't think about what the public is going to like. Not at all. But I don't think that's the point. But we care for the public to come and be part of it, and then they can either hate it or love it. The good thing is that there's nothing in between. And I think that's a good sign for what we believe in.
Thank you. Do you want to add something?
Not really.
Are you hungry?
I think I'm hungry, yeah. Thank you very much again.
Well, thank you very much, Prodromos Tsiavos.